Liked him too. Moving on to those Seattle Seahawks. We forgot our call to the altar in the last video. But we will do it this video.
Okay.
Seattle Seahawks, new coaches. Who dis?
Yeah, new coaches. I pulled up their results from last year. We're starting to talk about, hey, what happened last year? How did it happen? Is it repeatable? What should you know that's changed? This was a 9-win team that fired their head coach. You don't see that a lot.
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. I have something to Google while you're talking.
Are you looking up when Lovie Smith got fired?
No, I was looking up how old Pete Carroll is because it surprises me every single time.
It's like 95 years old.
Yeah. Do you want to take an actual guess of how old Pete Carroll is?
74 is my real
72,
guess.
actually.
Okay.
Which 74 was higher, but 72 is still. What's the national average? Go ahead, Gary.
Of people?
Yeah, of people.
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, keep talking.
Yes. So this was a 9-win team. They were okay in a very hard division as well. Let's go over some of their other stats, though. Let me make sure this is right. Actually, do you want to make sure they're I don't even know that it matters a ton looking at last year's stats.
Their passing was very bad.
Their passing was very bad. I have it listed as 31st in passing yards, which is why I'm saying let's double check that because I don't remember them being that bad. So they're bringing in a new head coach to replace Pete Carroll. It's Mike McDonald coming over from the Ravens where he was defensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator comes over from Washington College, not the Commies. So I don't know how I feel about college offensive coordinators coming into the NFL. With that said, this offense that he coached in Washington produced a lot of NFL players. So we're talking like Michael Penix, Roma Dunze, Troy Fontenot. I'm going to butcher his name. He's a first-round offensive lineman. Jalen Polk at wide receiver. Their offense was stacked.
Yeah.
But it's a college offense, so I don't know how to project that going forward. And as we talk through the rest of this team, we'll kind of eventually get to what I typically do with a situation like this where I don't know what the offensive coordinator is, just kind of move everybody back to the median.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you find their stats?
This says 15 is what I'm getting for passing yards. So we'll have to double check that. But all in all, who cares? I had Geno Smith on my team the whole year. Every time I needed him to perform, he did not. He had DK Metcalf. He had Tyler Lockett. We'll get all there in a minute.
Yeah.
So talk about the O-line, as you said, very hurt.
Yes. So they have two young tackles that are very good players that were both hurt for significant parts of the year. So when I look at the offensive stats, I do kind of throw some of that away. If you don't have good tackles on either side, it's going to be hard to throw the ball. It's going to be hard to run the ball. It's going to be hard to do much of anything. So we are going to, just in general, if they're last in passing yards, we're going to bump them back up towards the middle. With Geno Smith, though, he's ranked quarterback 23. For me, he's just another Derek Carr. When we talked about the Saints, I said he's the definition of fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably a placeholder guy for the Seahawks. I think the interesting stat that I bring up when I talk about Geno is he's the only guy getting paid in the 20s of millions. Like if you're not a great quarterback, you just don't get paid at all. You get paid $10 million like Gardner Minshew or whatever he's making.
Yeah.
Geno, I guess, is a little bit better than Gardner Minshew, but he's not someone that I'm expecting to lead this team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a layover kind of year where you do have new head coach, new offensive coordinator, hang out with this guy for a year, and then hope that you can get somebody better.
Yeah.
Like, granted, they're not the ones that paid Geno, but you know what I mean? This feels like it's going to be a sort of transition.
I didn't check if they swapped out GMs, so it might still be the GM that paid Geno. But even then, it's not move on from Geno because he's horrible. It's move on because you think you have a better opportunity.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that disrespectful to say they might next year find themselves getting a better opportunity than Geno Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to that running back room, Kenneth Walker III is the first one that comes to mind for me. He is
Yes.
currently ranked at 16 on that ECR.
All of these ranks
Uh,
are half point PPR. I don't think we've said
okay.
yet.
Yeah.
It's just a good thing to say.
And is this correct? He was ranked 19th in his 15 games.
Yes, with 15 games played last year, he was 19th in half point reception, is what I found today.
Yeah.
So Kenneth Walker, he's going into his third year. He's a round 2 pick, which I mentioned because Zach Charbonnet is going into his second year. Also was a round 2 pick. Ken Walker didn't play a ton in his rookie year. Pete Carroll, both known for playing the best guy, per se, not always sticking to draft value, but with running backs kind of having these guys earn their way up. So Zach Charbonnet not playing a ton last year kind of does fit that. Ken Walker having a slow start his first year somewhat fits that. We are now going into a year where neither guy is a rookie, and it's a completely new coaching staff.
Yeah.
We've seen Ken Walker prove it, and Charbonnet has been okay.
Yeah.
There's still growth there there's still potential. Like, we don't totally know what Zach Charbonnet is as much as we think we do with Ken Walker. But at 16 and 41, like I was talking about before, I kind of just smush them a little bit closer together, or just bring up Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah. Yeah, this definitely could go either way. It could be a two running back sort of situation. I don't know. This feels
could be 60-40, 65-35.
Exactly. I've been a huge fan of Kenneth Walker III. I will always call him Kenneth. I don't know why you call him Kenneth. Freaks me out. But Kenneth, I've been a big fan for a couple of years now, and I'm hoping that he gets that top spot because you've seen him prove that. But, like you said, offensive coordinator.
He's a home run hitter running back. He will take negative rushes because he's trying to pull back and then hit a big run. So as the coaching staff changes, do they see that as something they don't really want to be part of their offense, and maybe they lean on Charbonnet? I don't know. We're not really going to even get a clear sign of that through training camp. The thing that I would just look for is who's getting negative press about them. Coaches are always going to be willing to say something nice about a guy that they feel fine about. But if you're hearing stories saying like, hey, Ken Walker is not getting as many rushes as Charbonnet, that I might listen to, or that Charbonnet might be a third string guy for some reason. I don't expect that to happen, but I'm looking for stories like that to try to gauge how I want to stat out this team for projections.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the wide receiver room. I'm a big fan of this wide receiver room, obviously, as a lot of people are. But you have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, who is your old road dog that knows how to catch the ball and get down. Jackson Smith and Jigba, who this is his second year. Is that correct?
Yeah.
This is I'm a big fan of this wide receiver room, which I think tells even more about that offensive line last year, because you've seen Geno do pretty well with these guys.
Yeah, there's 3 great players here. I feel confident that DK Metcalf is the lead guy, but when it comes to wide receiver 2 and 3 and who's lining up where and how they want to run this offense, I don't know what's going to happen. So the consensus ranks kind of lined up with that, where DK Metcalf is ranked as wide receiver 20 in half-point reception, and Lockett and Smith and Jigba are 45 and 42, generally interchangeable wide receiver 4s. One of them is going to be better than that ranking, and it's really just, we don't know how these targets are going to shake out. I expect this offense to have enough players to produce such that at least 2 guys are valuable. I just don't know who that second receiver is.
Yeah. Yeah, my gut says that Njigba is going to have an upstart of a year. You have a new coaching staff, as we've said 45 times now. But we've seen him do really, really well. We've seen him hit some big plays, both in college and last year. He got a couple of them. If I remember correctly, there was a quote of him talking about how the previous head coach didn't really go to him a lot. I'm not sure if that's anything, but he's a rookie wide receiver on what is honestly technically a pretty stacked wide receiver room. So I would say Njigba is going to have a jump this year. because I think Lockett getting even older, like he can still get out there and get the ball and get down, like I said. But I'm looking forward to watching Jigba. That's literally what he does.
I do like his highlight reels.
Yeah, his highlight reels are phenomenal. You just see him catch it right in the middle of the field and then fall down and just curl into a ball.
If you've caught the ball, pretend you're on fire. Just get down and roll. Yeah, but either one of these guys, like Smith, Lockett at 45, I could see falling off more. Smith and Jigba at 42, I would be really surprised if he didn't beat that by quite a bit and have multiple top 24 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like in Jigba, I don't know if he's going to be like a value sort of thing. I would think that maybe
I think that's what we're saying.
I think that's what I'm getting at. I will always love Lockett until he retires as a bye week guy for sure.
Yeah, he's been a perennially underrated guy. He's like the classic wide receiver 36 at draft, 16 at the end of the year, and you just don't really even realize it.
I remember when trying to float a ridiculous trade to you, I believe the stat was he's in the top 5 of most open wide receivers last season.
Yeah, he's still very good.
Yeah, he's good. He's getting it done. Tight end position, Noah Fant.
I don't care.
Who the hell is that? Nobody cares. Shut up,
Who
Noah.
is he? He came over in the Russell Wilson trade from Denver. He has a little bit of draft pedigree. He has not spiked to be a notable fantasy tight end. He may be a good NFL player. I'm talking about him too much. This episode is already quite long. Let's go prize pigs.
The most important thing, I hope he has a sister named Ellie. Who's your prize pig on this team?
I don't even want to understand that joke. Prize pig?
Ellie Fant.
I don't. No one here jumps out as a huge prize pig.
No.
Because we just don't know how this offense is going to shake out.
Yeah, I guess the closest might be a DK Metcalf, but if he's ranked at 20, then you got time to wait.
Yeah, I mean, he could. DK Metcalf is someone that was thought to become that top 10 elite guy, and it just kind of fell off a bit with Geno. It's still Geno here. He still has that upside. I'm not going to pay for that sort of upside. I'm not seeing a prize pig on this team, are you?
No, I'm not. Who's your blue-collar hog?
My road dog every day. I mean, it's been Tyler Lockett for the past couple of years. He still feels like that. Yeah.
You think Njigba could be in? I mean, he's ranked 42 and Lockett's 45. I think you could pretty easily say Njigba, but I don't know. He's got a lot of hype around him.
That's what I'm feeling. He was the first wide receiver drafted last year. Does he fit that workman hog, like blue collar hog kind of profile? Maybe in a year or two after some of that hype falls off, but yeah.
Yeah. I could easily see myself not touching anybody on this team with a 10-foot pole.
Right now, it'll feel that way. We just got to wait until August to have a better idea of what the hell they're going to do.
Now is our call to the altar. You can be our first subscriber.
You could be number 1.
You can do it. You can be number 1. I'll name our next video after you.
Number 1, we will name every single video after you. We will rename the channel to your first name,
your social security number, and your address. Mm-hmm. Be our first subscriber.
Be number 1.
We're going to be a really helpful podcast in about 6 months. Just think about it.
I hope so.
Just think about it.